time zones too. For example, it's 1 a.m. here. I'm in Thailand.
Ah, uh-huh.
Oh, poor you.
That's
We,
totally
we,
fine.
we will make it as fun as possible and entertaining for you. So,
Thank you.
so today we have with us Jorn Green. Jorn Green is a seasoned professional in the tech industry. He worked in several management positions in big firms such as Ubisoft, and he has assisted and supported entrepreneurs in their scale-up journey. So he is a guru in that, especially in how to manage and scale chaos. He will tell us today about how he's able to craft that. And the session is interactive. We will have polls and quizzes alongside the session. We are planning not to exceed 8 p.m. our time, so we have 55 minutes from now on. And if you have any question, just type it in on the spot, and we can take it. I will start by pulling the first question. You should see it in the chat or down the bottom on the right. There is like a square with 9 dots. That should be there. The first question popping up, which is about which of the symptoms of fast growth sounds most familiar to you right now. A, endless meetings that produce no actual decisions. B, everyone working hard but pulling in different directions. And plans that are really just optimistic forecasts without milestones. Or D, all of the above. You can open the mic and respond, Seven, if you find it easier for you. So which of the symptoms of fast growth sounds most familiar to you? Endless meetings with no decisions, everyone working hard but no and pulling in different directions, or C, plans that are really just optimistic forecasts without no clear milestones, or D, all of the above. Hamdi, you joined us now. Thank you for joining. There is a question down the right. If you click on the square with the 9 dots, there should be their polls. Or if you have a French version, it should be survey. And you can choose for the first questions. We are asking just a quick icebreaker. We would like to know which of the symptoms of fast growth sounds most familiar to you. A, endless meetings that produce no actual decisions. B, everyone working hard but pulling in different directions. Or C, plans that are really just optimistic forecasts without milestones. Or D, all of the above. You can type A, B, C, or D in the chat if it's easier for you. So, which is it?
Sorry, Ahmed. I think I can't find anything. I
No
can tell
problem.
you I'm
But
from
on
iPad.
which situation are you?
I'm from iPad, and I have Google Meet app, and
No
there is
problem, no problem. But
nothing
which situation are
like
you?
this.
Are you stuck in a lot of meetings with no decisions? Is this something that
No,
speaks
no,
to you?
actually, no, no, no. It's I would say we have just a few necessarily meetings for the department. Let's say game design or engineering or art, animations, and we have a constant syncs in Slack for
Okay.
other teams, so they can see what's happening if they want. Yeah. So, but mandatory meetings are just inter-department meetings.
Okay. Okay. So what kind of challenge do you have at the moment in terms of managing the teams? Do you feel that everyone is
It's
working hard?
it's question to me.
Yeah.
I I haven't prepared for that question. I don't know. I need a second to think. Challenge. I must say, yeah. I think I guessed one. I'm working for a startup, and startup is very unstable in terms of team management and organization. That's the challenge. I just struggling to understand who like what's going on the higher level of management. Like sometimes. So I think there is a room for improvement here. But considering the startup nature of the company, I I know. I have a feeling it's kind of natural. What do you think, guys?
Stefano, if I may ask, how many people are in your company?
Uh, from 50 to 100.
Fair enough.
Good. I think Jörn is happy now because 50 to 100. Yes, fair enough. It's one of the people that I can scale. Okay,
Yeah.
so Jörn, I think the floor is yours. I would leave for you to start the presentation, and I will be
Perfect.
moderating on the side.
Very good. So let's jump right into the next slide. So, okay. So guys, thank you for coming. And the first question you must ask is, why am I listening to this guy? So a little presentation about myself. I've worked in the tech industry in telecom, IoT, gaming, gambling, tech industries for and have about 25 years of experience from it. I've structured, scaled teams, projects, initiatives, and business initiatives. I've built business lines, scaled teams from maybe 40 to 250 people, and several times managed to meet a very good operational excellence in that. So I think I have some experience worth to share. Right now, I'm running a small consulting company where I help tech companies that want to scale. And what I'm currently putting my focus is on building a small venture studio that can help companies. Next, please, Amin. So the problem we're trying to face here is the scale-up dilemma. When you're working with a company, you want to grow it. This is your dream. You're thinking, what if I could just put an engine on this baby? What if we could grow? What if we could really do more? And once you start growing, it's not really what you expected. Your team size is double, but your productivity doesn't really go up. The strategic decisions and perspectives you wanted to get time to once you started getting the staff in there and the teams handling the execution. Instead, it becomes the other way around. You're now bound by endless discussions, meetings, email discussion. I have a very, very simple framework that I've worked out here that can help turn that chaos into an actual operational rhythm. So if we go to next. And here I want to talk about why are we talking about this now? Because this type of framework hasn't been needed before. Well, the world moves much faster. If you talk to investors, they will come and want basically say, show me the money. They want very quick results, very quick deliverables. The budgets are much more controlled, and the expectations of growth are faster than any time before. Speed outpaces structure, and the antidote to this is to set a rhythm to it. Next, please. The symptoms, and we come right back to the little question we had before this, symptoms of fast growth, where many founders feel they're failing, but they're not. They're just in a scaling mode. It typically is endless meetings. You have meetings about everything, and when you come from the meetings, you're wondering, what did we actually decide there? Or was it just an endless synchronization? You get forecasts that actually are very much hope-based, ambitions masquerading as strategy, optimism without evidence. And that worked before when you were smaller because everyone kind of knew everything. Your teams are busier than any time before. They're all working on different things, but you're not really moving forward in a faster way. And this is what I call the fog when you're growing fast. Next, please. Sometimes we hear that when companies grow, people break. That can be an effect, but it's not from the growth, it's from the alignment. If you put yourself in a founder's feel or the CEO's clothes, they come into this and they start feeling, this was supposed to be easier now when I have resources to work on everything, but it doesn't. It feels heavier. The clarity we had from the beginning disappears, and instead we have countless meetings, and everyone is running in the different directions. And the solution, the intuition you have to solve that is, we need better talented people, we need more tools, we need processes. And that will actually not solve the problem at all. Because the real problem here is the structure hasn't really kept up with the ambition and the growth. People are working in different directions, not because they're bad or stupid. They're probably super talented, but they lack rhythm and alignment. So the point here is, we shouldn't waste time on finding people who work smarter or harder or whatever, but find a structure that allows people to do their best work. Next, please. So just before we go into the actual framework, I just want to show you a case study where I implemented this. And the situation here was a 350 headcount game division tasked with releasing 50 releases per year. The organization grew, people joined, the output didn't increase. What happened was that every release was more expensive instead. Huge misalignment between the commercial ambition and the production ambition, and no real accountability anywhere. This became a culture of inefficiency, missed opportunities, missing the goals, and morale started declining, and people started resigning. So how to solve this? Very simple. We introduced the Run, Grow, Transform model for portfolio steering. This is, if you talk to a senior product owner or product manager, will probably scoff a little and say, this is the most simple model you can have. But that's the point. It is so simple so everyone can understand it. We started working with that for the portfolio. We started talking to the commercial perspective and created a scoring plan instead of talking about what is the cost for this project, and then hoping that revenue would come. We would start measure every project on a mean time until how do you say, the cost was paid and profit started rolling in from it, and a leadership rhythm on this, where we clearly knew what decisions were taken from where. And this might sound very vague and abstract, but it's actually very, very simple to principles in itself. What happened when this was introduced? Actually, the output of the company went from 50 to 62 products per year. And the staff didn't work harder. The retention problem of staff disappeared. People said they were much clearer on their expectation and how they could support the company. Instead of chasing quantity, we started having discussions on benefit versus cost versus risk on each product, where leadership clearly could align on this instead of having a scapegoating culture where you said we should do this product, it didn't end up very good, you are the person to blame. Instead, decisions became shared and publicly communicated. And the bottom line was, after 90 days, that's all the time it took to turn this around into a predictable, structured operations that produced more value than ever before. Next, please. So let me start going into the actual framework. If you are on the top leadership of an initiative or a company like this, you're constantly being pulled in to very short-term questions. And this is an illusion because as information science tells us, decisions should be made by those closest to the decision. If you want to take an engineering decision, you should probably ask engineers to take that decision. And instead, a normal way of doing it is that everything starts escalating and it ends up on the top layer. What I want to say here is that there are 3 topics that leadership need to be in charge of, that they cannot delegate to anyone else. And the first one is runway and capacity. Runway is simply how much money do we have counting everything so we can continue doing what we can? What's our time frame on this? The second question becomes, what resources do we have that actually can affect this? And there's no way to delegate this question. It has to be the fundamental point of any company strategy. The second point is decisions and ownership. What's moving ahead? What's being blocked? How are the initiatives that we have set up actually being taken care of? What can we follow the decisions and so on? And once you make it clear that this is owned, you can also start measuring it, for example, with decision velocity. So you don't have decisions bouncing around week after week and so on. How do we take decisions, valid decisions? And that becomes a self-learning process. The third point that is easily ignored is the rhythm and cadence. One needs transparency. So to do this, you need to set up a rhythm so that people who are working with this in the organization understand when they can expect changes and at what pace those changes are coming. It can be different for different organizations. A 2-week cadence can be good for some. A quarterly strategy update can be important, and so on. But you have to have a clear cadence so everyone understands the rules, because once you understand where are decisions made and when are they made, then anyone in the company has a possibility to affect those decisions. That decision is made next week. I am concerned about it. I need to talk to my colleagues about this, that we're doing right, and that can feed back into the decision loop. So from the founder's perspective, the most important thing would be, do I understand the runway and capacity? Do I know where decisions are made and how we own those decisions? And do I understand in what cadence those decisions are being taken? Next, please.
Now it's time for the quiz. So, runway and capacity tells you how much time and fuel you have. So here you need to respond true or false. I launched it. Tell me if you see it in the chat. Do you see it in the chat? It pops up. Great. Okay, now it works. So runway and capacity tells you how much time and fuel you have. Is it true or false? True or false? Or you can put thumbs up if it's true. Okay. Okay, it's true. Okay. True. Thank you, Hamdi. And thank you, Stefan. Okay. We got it. We got it, Jorn. Next one. Okay. Decisions and ownership shows you which features customers most want. Yeah, I'm reading it right. Yeah? The second one, decisions and ownership, shows you which features customers want most. Is it true or false? You can put thumbs up, thumbs down, true, thumbs up, down, thumbs down, false. It's tricky, yeah? Decision and ownership shows you which features customers want most. Yes? No? Okay, false. Hamdi, what do you think? Yeah, so the second one, decision and ownership, it's an instrument which shows you who owns each decision and whether you're closing the loop. It's about decision velocity. It's true or false. Okay. Okay. Last one. Let me get back there. And this one. The last one, rhythm and cadence, monitors whether teams move with predictable momentum or reactive firefighting. Rhythm and cadence monitors whether teams move with predictable momentum or reactive firefighting. Is it true or false? The rhythm on which your team is making the decisions, they're doing the work. Okay, Hamdi said true. Yeah, so you both said true. Yes, it's true. And it shows about sustainable growth, which requires steady beats and not erratic sprints. Jorn, do you have any comments on this?
I think decisions and ownership you could argue that it indirectly would show which features customers want most.
So Hamdi is not wrong. It's true or false.
I don't want to say Hamdi is wrong. I want to say if you think deeply enough about it, it could be an enabler to that.
Okie dokie.
So in my experience, I've come to realize that there are three topics that always comes around in different ways. How we build things, what we invest in, and how the outside world looks like. And if you don't have control over those forums, they easily become incredibly messy discussions that flow over everything. You can imagine when someone suggests a feature, someone immediately replies with, then we'd have to re-engineer that API from the beginning and so on. And the discussions become incredibly complicated to sort out. What I've noticed is that if we isolate and make sure that these three things are built as forums where with a clear decision mandate, it becomes much easier to do that. So in the framework, I say build these three forums, one architecture forum that answers how we build things, principles, systems, technical feasibility, making sure that whatever we build, we want to build, can be built in a good way, and making sure that whatever strategy we want is not built on clouds. And in the end point, the point of this forum is to deliver technical truth. The portfolio forum, what products are we actually building? What features are we building? And so on. It starts to balance the problem of finite resources, of time, people, and money against infinite strategic priorities. What actually is reasonable that we should focus? And this forum delivers a financial truth to the whole thing. And then a customer forum that looks on what the outside world looks like. What feedback are we getting? What are our competitors doing? And so on. And this forum needs to deliver a market truth. So when you have a topic, an idea, a suggestion, that has to be put towards, can we build it? Do we have the capacity to build it? And does it make sense to build it? And if you have these forums working, they turn daily work into a shared truth. When these different perspectives that are mandated and accountable start working in one rhythm, then decisions come faster, greater confidence, no going back 2 weeks later and re-engineering the decisions, and there becomes a much clearer alignment between the teams. Next, please.
Quiz time. So now about the forums, we have three types of forums. We have architecture, portfolio, and customer. And for each one, I will give you a proposal. So for each, we have either it is a technical truth, or it gives financial truth, or market truth. So we will start with the architecture. So in your opinion, the architecture forum delivers which truth? Is it technical, financial, or market? And each one of those, it has only one correct answer. So the architecture forum, maybe also research. No, we have only three, Hamdi. It's technical, financial, and market. So the first one is architecture forum. It delivers technical, financial, or market. Tech. Okay, and Stepan, what do you say? You say also tech. Yes, you're both right.
Same.
Yeah. You have two very attentive people today. Okay, good. Then we have the second one, the portfolio forum. Does it deliver technical, financial, or market truth? So the portfolio forum delivers which kind of truth? Technical, financial, or market?
I guess markets.
It's financials. It's financials.
It is financials. Okay.
Last one, customer forum delivers technical, financial, or market. Now it's easy. We remove two. All right. Yeah. So it delivers markets. Great. Okay. We are almost finished, guys, and we will move to the Q&A.
So we've gone through the top-level responsibility. We've gone through a tool to make data true and workable, and we've explained the importance of cadence on this. I want to talk a little about truth in itself. I guess everyone has heard the discussion about the data-driven organization and data-driven decisions. It's something everyone claims they do. the truth is, we are not data-driven. We can motivate some parts of what we say with data, but the reality of things is much more complicated than something that can be data-driven. All of us have assumptions based on sometimes on very valid experience, sometimes on position. I'm supposed to have an opinion on this, sometimes on a very holistic view. And the important thing here is we need to work in a way that we clarify assumptions and what is actually supported with data. An assumption is not wrong. It's not bad to have an assumption at all. Where it becomes a problem is when we try to judge it towards other things and don't understand the, how to say, risk involved in it. So the culture we need to have is data supports our thinking, but if we assume that data will solve everything, we will be lost. No real decision will ever be made. So I propose that we work. Stefan, you've been around the block. I know exactly where you are, the comment about we adjust data. And I can tell you, I've been sitting with data officers at, for example, at Ubisoft, explaining to them that I don't want your objective data. I want data that supports my points for the top-level presentation. Let's not flatter ourselves here. He wasn't too happy about that. But let's be honest here. There's no way we can get objective data. And even if we could, the world is moving so fast. What we can show with data is that something is actually supported, pretty thought through, and it is a pretty good adjustment. And the important thing is when we work with decisions, transparency is important, not just for the people working in the actual decision forum, but for everyone in the company. Where are decisions made and under what assumptions are they made? If we don't do that together, we end up immediately in a scapegoat culture. Who took this decision? It didn't turn out the way we wanted, and we're wasting energy on that instead of putting energy where important things need to be. And this might seem like a detail, but this is actually incredibly important to have this understanding once you start taking the decisions, and especially, as I propose, you take decisions together and share the accountability and the responsibility for it. I suggest something very simple here. For decisions making, make an assumption register. Put what you want to propose there. Make sure that you have whatever data is there that for due diligence and so on. Also make sure that everyone understands the assumption part of it. Always ask what is assumption based, what is data based, and so on. If something is assumption based, it's not a free ticket to shoot it down. Absolutely not. Most of the best decisions are assumption based. But we take decisions together and we own the risks together afterwards. If we don't follow this, it becomes impossible to take decisions. It becomes disruptive for the company instead of constructive. Next, please. So the leadership in this, as I was in before, the leadership has a number of things they need to work on. They need to go from working on short cadence questions that can be better solved by engineers that understand the challenge in front of them, by designers who understand what the customers are looking for, by salespeople who have actually talked to customers and so on. They need to make sure that each of the forums are have a coherence between them, that the facts are coming out and they're working together. They need to make sure that the feedback mechanisms are working. They need to work on scenario planning. If we do this, then we can't do that. We believe this is going to happen, then we do this and this. And I want to quote the British person, Winston Churchill here. Planning is everything, but plans are nothing. Plans should always be ready to be discarded. That's why you call it scenario planning. What's our plan forward? And you should have several models of that. Another thing they need to do is collectively own the risks. Not a person, not a function, but the leadership operating layer owns the risks together and agrees to take them. And the last point they need to own, that is incredibly important also, is to make sure that the communication is unified. It makes sense together. Once you have that mandate given to leadership in a company, other parts of the company can start working without hesitating. Next, please. When the leadership team meets, and I guess everyone's heard about the company called Amazon. Jeff Bezos there has a policy where meetings are held. You get a book of printed material before that you have to read. If you haven't read it, you're not welcome into the decision meeting. Once you're in the decision meeting, they take a round and say, why are you here? How can you affect this decision? It's very hard and very strict. I'm not proposing that type of model. I think it's extreme. But once you meet, update meetings are a waste of time. You should already be informed before you go into that meeting. And the agenda that I have seen work for a leadership team is talk about scenarios. Has our scenario planning changed? Is the conditions different somewhere? How does that affect our portfolio? Has our risks changed? And from that, what decisions do we need to take? And rhythm feels intuitively to many as a side thing, but it is one of the quietest and strongest forms of control you can exercise in a company. When the same structure comes every week, something we call cognitive load, the pressure we put on people's brains to understand what's going on, that goes down. And the focus on what the meetings actually are about, that goes up. Consistency in this way builds a calm, silent authority. Authority means trust. Teams learn what to expect, how to prepare for it, and when and how decisions are made. Next, please. This is a very simple framework, but in my experience, what happens once you start playing with this, you've all been in situations where companies are doing firefighting. It's a reactive situation. Now we have this crisis. Now we have this crisis. Now we have this crisis. You never know what happens the next day. I'm thinking you, Stefan, who works in a startup, this must be old news to you in a way. With this type of clarity, this becomes much easier to predict what's actually happening. Another thing you see is micromanagement starts ending. Everybody knows where we're heading. Everybody knows what to expect. So the need for the CEO to step in and take a decision on a specific feature or something like that ends. Conversations go from status update, potentially political discussions, agenda discussions, and so on. They become real because the real problems in the company are very transparent. What are we here to solve? Trust increases, as I mentioned before. Rhythm creates trust. And the most important thing is, with this, there's space to actually start thinking long-term. You go from how do we survive the next 2 weeks into where will we be in the next 6, 12, or 18 months or 3 years. Next, please. So implementing this, it's a very simple framework in its basic structure. How I would go about it is set aside 3 months. The first month, be incredibly honest. How are things in the company? Start writing down and documenting facts and assumptions. Start discussions, real conversations, product, money, and customer, and start sharing those. And your goal here is to put everyone into a shared reality. This is where we are. The second point would be rhythm. Start making this predictable. Don't meet when you have a crisis. Meet on a rhythm. Use meetings for decisions, not for updates. And once you have that, you have a predictability in the company. And then you come to future-looking predictability. You suddenly are capable of having one simple page that can be shared of metrics, risks, runway. You can start talking 6, 12, 18 months possibility. And you end up in calm foresight. And this, in my experience, provided you're honest and you keep it simple from the start, 90 days is enough to change even the messiest setup to that. So guys, this is the basics of the framework I wanted to share today. And I think the key message here is rhythm. Go from invisible assumptions to visible decisions, go from hope-based plans to evidence-based predictability.
Go ahead, Stefan. I think you wanted to say something.
Yes, it's time for questions.
Yes, it's time for Q&A. Go ahead.
Okay, I can start with the most obvious one for me at the moment. So what Jorn just shared is really great. It sounds more like a philosophy than just simple step-by-step plan. And I really appreciate and thank you, Jorn, for sharing this. The question is, how, let's say, if I want to utilize this approach, how to define who is going to execute this, how to define the roles, who's going to be doing what to start with.
Well, I can tell you where to start. The framework I presented today is meant to founders in a way, but there's nothing stopping this from any function in a company. And to start any initiative or any structure, you need to have the owner of that function aligned. Otherwise, you have a very hard uphill battle. Where I've implemented it personally, I've been that owner of a specific function. I think it's very hard to get someone else to change unless they themselves agree that it's a problem. You end up in the sales problem and so on. It can be done, I guess, but let's take the example of you as a function head somewhere. Maybe you don't have the exact same problems with market and so on. I would start with looking at what you're doing and making sure that I have truth coming from each of those sub-functions. I would make sure that there is a dialogue, not just based on one person, but that the sub-teams in your organization have that accountability. You need to produce truth for the bigger management discussion that we're having. And in that case, your role would be to make sure that these guys have that environment where they can produce that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes. And to continue, like, to elaborate your thought, would it make sense if, let's say, I interview some of the like team members, maybe leads, or I don't know, like, just to discover the truth in each of the department or just my department, to set up like one-on-one interviews?
I think you're onto something here, Stefan. The most important thing is that you get a culture where truth is appreciated. It's not uncomfortable. A person coming with bad news is not a problem. That person should get a pat on the back. Good, you saw it. Now we can handle it in a way. And one thing, I don't know really the culture in the teams you're working with, but I've worked with. You said before you were in Thailand, right?
It's now I'm in Thailand, but I'm speaking now mostly about my past experiences, and I just feel like what we're discussing here resonates with me. I remember some of the examples like this, and yeah, you're right that sometimes it's just hard to convince the leads that it's something wrong's happening or some bad news to deliver to them. I can say that sometimes they just don't want to agree. Yeah.
The point is not making them feel uncomfortable. The point is that you as a leader should be able to say, this is what we're doing. Anything that is blocking us, that is stopping us from doing this, must be surfaced. It must come up. If you can handle it yourself, then fine. You don't bother me about it. Then do your thing in a way. But problems or structural problems, and I promise you, everyone in your organization is worried. That's normal. I mean, look at yourself. You're in an organization somewhere. You're probably worried about what's actually going on with this and what's going on with that. Everyone has these types of thoughts. You need to put up a perspective where you can get people to clearly say, I don't think this is going to work, or what if this happens, or what, get that dialogue going. And that should be your focus on your management meetings. One company I worked with, when I took over the management team there, everything was focused around problems that needed to be solved in the next 2 weeks, and basically engineering problems. And I sat there patiently listening. I had just started, and after a while, I said, I think I better have these meetings with the engineers directly in the future, because everyone here, either these problems are so severe we can't solve them, and then I need to talk to the engineers directly because nothing's happening, or we have to trust the engineers. That do they understand the problem? Do they have the resources to solve them? And we need to have a more senior discussion on our level. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It is. Yeah. Thank you so much.
It's really good question, Stefan.
Yes, thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Stefan, for your engagement.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I would like to take the question from Hamdi. So Hamdi has different question, let's say different side. So he is in the moment now when he's working on an innovative framework, and he is scaling it for commercialization, and his decision, he has a problem into what kind of decision he should make. Should I raise money and get stuff like H2 100 GPUs, or should I keep it as an open source framework for research where this? So if I understood correctly, Hamdi, just tell me if this is your question. So raising money and do it as a closed source, this innovative framework under my control as a company, or keep it as an open source and let the community fund it and use it and develop it. Hamdi, I just need your confirmation on the chat, please, because he's or something combining both. So he has three.
Okay.
So
Hamdi, this is a strategic question that you're asking, and I'm afraid that my framework does not help with this. But what I would tell you is, if you want to go open source as a, which I think is an incredibly serious way to handle development, you have a number of advantages coming your way. You can, for example, get your customers to do much of the customization for your product, which takes an enormous headache off your shoulders when you're scaling. The need here is that you then are able to provide how do you say, operations on that. Because if you're just developing a framework and putting it open source, humanity says thank you, but you will not see it in your wallet at all. The decision to make it open source, I would say, would be based in your ability to do operations on it afterwards. I can operate this framework for you. Does that answer your question, or can you explain more?
So I know personally and supporting him into launching his first AI company back during COVID time in Tunisia, and he was quite successful, and he was then incubated in Monaco Tech in France. I don't know if he's working on the same project or not, to be honest.
Okay.
But he is.
Okay.
Go ahead, Hamdi.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just finished my working. Thank you.
Okay, good.
So yeah, for me, we developed a new kind of framework. It's about LLMs optimization. We got very good results. But now, okay, if we should prove to the community that all works fine and we have a good results, we should give code, publication and code. Otherwise, they will not believe you. They will not believe that you are doing something very performant. I mean, for example, in accuracy or in energy optimization. So, yeah, we can keep the code closed for us, but then how to get transparency? How clients can believe us that we have really an impactful framework. So. But if we give them open source code, we will be more a consultant than entrepreneurial project. Yeah, we will be consultant in that topic. And the dilemma is we can provide enterprise version of this open source, which is more advanced by more advanced from the initial version, which push it to GitHub, and then we can mix both of them: open source research for transparency and then the money from the enterprise version.
I think your basic problem is a problem of monetization, right?
Yeah.
How do I make money out of this product? If you ask me ethically, open source is always better than closed source. I mean, it's ethically a better solution. It will end up in a more quality. You will have potential to get it to grow the code base without investing yourself into it. But you need to have a business plan in order to, you seem like a very nice guy, Hamdi, but I don't think you want to give everything away just for that. You have a number of business models that you can look at there. I remember the Red Hat model, where they basically gave away their operating system and then worked as consultants on that. And that became incredibly successful a long time. There was no end to the scaling. They could do that, Red Hat consultants. That could be one model for you. If you want to go the other way of making closed source, then your bet is that your product solves an actual problem. And when I advise companies on getting trust for their product, you need reference cases. You need companies that take this on. And those are the most important thing you can get. So I would say approach 3 companies, offer them the product for free, provided they can be references for you. Because once you have 3 references, you actually have game for the bigger discussion. Does that help?
Yeah. It helps me a lot. Suppose that we are targeting a big company that they are using LLMs to optimize their energy resources. So firstly, I want to ask, how do you do that? How you can optimize, for example, the energy, or how you increase the accuracy? And here the problem for me, how I want to, maybe I should give them the architecture or something about how it works. It's about thermodynamics. It's about mathematics or flows, or I should give them some feedback about this. And then the better way is to provide the publication. So, for example, DeepSeek, they are public. They always publish their framework. Mistral, they always publish their work. But the difference here that Mistral, they have finance. It's not a problem for them. For me, as startup, I am starting now just to make this framework as enterprise version. So really, it's for me, it's this is a moment, but what I'm doing now. Yeah.
So Hamdi, I'm thinking that there's harsh truths in business, and a company, a big energy company that looks at your solution, if you provide everything for it, the source code or the technology behind it, this is how it works, their basic instinct is to ask, should we build it ourselves or buy it from Hamdi?
Exactly,
and if you have provided everything, then you always must compete against build yourself cost. So I would, I think we need a bigger discussion about this for me to be able to give you a very concrete advice. But the problem
That's
you're
what
having.
I was going to suggest to you, Jorn, that because you already going overlapping.
Yeah, because this is
on
not about the framework, and I absolutely love the question, and I want to help you, Hamdi, but it's a bigger question than this meeting.
I will link you, Hamdi, over. I will link you over LinkedIn. I will make a group, and you can discuss directly with Jorn. I will send you his LinkedIn profile, because it is too complex to give you just a one-sided view on this. That you need to do this or that. It's I think deeper than this. And giving you a simple answer, it would be not giving you. Yeah, it would be unfair for you. So yeah. But if I may, always try to co-create with with the first customer, even if they pay you a little, because you need to prove that people are willing to buy from you too. because if you give everything for free, it might be problematic afterwards to ask people to pay for it. Because as an entrepreneur, you need to validate the need for the market for it, and it's not only about the technology. So also, yeah, it's nice we are using it, but are we willing to pay for it? That's a whole other question. So I think you should be in the middle on finding both. And as Jorn said, to have like a reference also that will help you in the further steps down the road to raise capital or find better clients. So I suggest a deeper thought on this one. Thank you, Jorn, for your kindness of giving us your 25 years of experience in this 55 minutes of the webinar, and sharing all your knowledge on your best practices with us. Thank you, Hamdi and Stefan, that you joined for the whole, and you got most of the questions right and showed us your interest in this. We will be sharing the recording on over the email, and we will keep you informed about the next sessions. Thank you very much, everyone. If you have one last, if you would like to give us one last comment.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Thank you so much, Stefan. Thank you, Hamdi.
Yeah. It was a really great talk.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Jorn, do you have one last advice to give as a good night?
Guys, I wish you the absolute best night and rest of the week.
Great. Thank you so much, and see you for the next one. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.